What's up, guys, and thanks for tuning in to CRÜZR Radio, episode number 43. I'm your host, Andrew Taylor, and today we're excited to have Mr. Dustin Buttram and Taylor Witchell from our local TWRA office in-house. These guys have an abundance of knowledge and respect when it comes to conservation and enforcement. And on today's episode, we'll ask them all the questions you want to know. What is a game warden? What are some of the new laws and regulations? And why are people killing less deer? Let's get into it. Appreciate you guys coming on today.
Yes, sir.
It's a pleasure. You were a lot harder to get a hold of than what I ever expected, but we're glad you're here.
Hey, I feel like that's all TWRA agents.
Well, you know,
I'm
give our
I'm
numbers
kidding.
out. Usually, I'll give his out to anybody.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly.
No, I ended up having I emailed the office, and that's when you got in touch with me, and pretty timely, but I was doing research, and I was like, all right, who, when, how, and you called me, so I really appreciate you.
No problem, man. It's rare that we don't return a phone call.
Yeah.
It gets to us now. Just once you get a hold of somebody, we can get you in touch about any.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
That Crossville office, sometimes everybody's busy and not knowing
Oh, yeah.
necessarily who to get.
No, especially this time of year. I'm sure you guys are slammed, so.
That's kind of what I want to get you on pre-deer season, so you actually have a little time before you get off. But if you don't care, just introduce yourself. Tell everybody who you are.
My name's Dustin Buttram. I'm a sergeant here in District 31. District 31, we break the state down into 4 regions, and then each region has 2 districts. So there's 12 counties in our area, and then I mainly am here in the Putnam County, Jackson, and Clay currently right now. It's kind of where I'm roaming at, and been with the agency for 13 years.
Wow.
Awesome.
What's you?
Taylor Winchell. I'm a wildlife manager, so do the law enforcement side as well as the management side on a handful of WMAs in the District 31.
Awesome.
Yeah.
How long you been with the agency?
Just over 1 year now.
Nice.
So you're fresh.
New blood.
Yes.
He's coming up on the tail end. He just got out of the academy not too long ago. We
Perfect.
have our own in-house academy, and it's roughly 6 months.
Cool.
In Waverly, Tennessee, and then once he gets out of there, he'll be assigned to sergeants every month in the district until he finishes the FTO program, and he's on the tail end of that right now. I think
Awesome.
this is his last supervised phase, and then he'll go solo starting in about 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Cool, man.
We was talking before he got here, and he said that him and Silas come out of the academy together, and I thought it was pretty cool how Silas ended up as an officer, just like his dad. Of course, I thought the world of Doug up there in Jamestown, where I'm from.
That is where you're from.
Yeah.
Okay. Doug was a great man, great wildlife officer.
Oh, yeah, for
So,
sure.
yeah, it's kind of see that heritage
Yeah.
come through the district here. It's pretty neat.
Yeah.
Cool.
What exactly is what a wildlife officer? We'll say that.
Well, and you can chime in anytime you want to, but it's an individual that wears a lot of hats. I'll just be honest with you. You know, it's the greatest job in a lot of ways, because about the time you get tired of something, it's time to move to something new.
Mhm.
Our job's not a 9 to 3. It's not a 9 to 5. You know, it's a just a revolving door of new and different. So briefly, just we'll kind of break it down to seasons, and that's when our job changes. We just came off the tail end of boating season.
Yeah.
Boating's a huge recreation. In Tennessee. So boating will start up generally in May. And we'll just start there for the calendar. So May to Labor Day generally, and then there's weeks on either side of that. But we're full focused on the lakes. So of course, this district we've got Del Holland, Center Hill, Great Falls, Cordell Hull, and then the rivers as well, the Caney Fork and College River. There's a lot of waterways here. So we're all hands on deck. Bringing the managers on with us as well. So we put about 5 boats on each lake, and so we'll patrol that. And about the time we get burnt out of boating, you have dove opener.
Yep.
And that kind of early goose season, and we get into that. And then the August velvet hunt.
Yeah.
Which plays a big part for y'all, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then of course now we're into archery, and then it just gets busy.
Yeah.
It gets real wild after that. Once the Orange Army comes out, I'm sure you guys are busy.
Yep. And this weather's got everybody feeling good.
Oh, yeah.
These cool nights coming in, so we'll get into the full blown deer enforcement season, which
Perfect.
will run through January.
Yeah.
And got a little lull in February.
Yeah.
Tail end of duck season, which we don't have a. Not saying that there's not waterfowl hunting here, but we don't have major flyaway.
Yeah, waterfowl hunt. It's pretty bad, but.
Well, yeah, a little break there. We did catch up with training, and I'm pretty involved in the academy, so back and forth several weeks out the year training the new officers, and then turkey season.
Oh yeah,
and then right back
to boats.
So it's just a constant changing cycle. But we, as far as duties, of course, law enforcement is one of our number one duties, and then education. Doing programs like this, hunter ed, boater education. And I'm involved pretty heavily with Tennessee Tech, so
yeah,
we've got some events there, and we I actually teach a law enforcement class there.
Oh, cool.
Once a semester, so it was pretty time consuming there, but really weigh heavily on law enforcement, education, and then conservation.
Yeah,
that would kind of be the three main hats we wear. But each county is like its own kingdom. You can, as an officer there, you can dictate what you do. As far as programs, youth hunts, school programs, just whatever you want to make it. That's the beauty of the job, is that's your home, that's your kind of your baby in a sense, and you can take that whatever direction you want to go.
Sure, there's always a lot going on for sure. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
yeah,
makes sense.
So like, as long as I've been hunting, they've always said game wardens have more authority than local law enforcement. Is that pretty well the case, or is that a myth?
It's
how do I answer this?
both. Both. It comes from the inspection authority that we have.
Yeah.
And let's take boating as a great example.
Yeah.
Law enforcement outside of us, generally, they can't just say we're going to stop every red vehicle.
Yeah.
Or we can't stop every truck today.
Sure.
There has to be a probable cause there to make a stop before you get pulled over. The boating side, or in the wildlife side, under the inspection authority, just because we stop you doesn't mean you've done anything wrong.
Exactly.
The way the law is set up, it lets us check for the safety equipment on a boat. So that's kind of where that myth legend comes from.
Yeah.
Is that inspection authority? Same thing with hunting license. We can stop to inspect those hunting license. So that's kind of where it comes from. We don't necessarily have to have probable cause to make a stop. It doesn't mean we're there to enforce, to write you a citation. It just means, hey, we're inspecting what's going on.
Well, there's rules and regulations that everyone needs to follow in the outdoor space, like boating, hunting. Like, you need your license. You have to be, you have the proper license. I mean, and that's your job, to keep people safe and make sure they're doing what they're supposed to be doing.
That's right. And that's where that inspection comes from, is there would be no way to regulate hunting license if we didn't have that inspection, because you would have to do something wrong to have probable cause to stop you to even check a license. So they put that in the law just to maintain.
Well, it just makes sense. I mean, because if you didn't have that authority, why would we buy our hunting license, right?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Do you see today's time, everything's mostly on the phone. Is it people, the hunt license especially, is it more common or less common that they have what they need now with the phone stuff?
Because it can be confusing.
The phone confusing.
Can be. So,
but I would say it's probably more common. One, you're seeing more phones
On the tech side of things, just the way the world's transformed and technology's adapted to it.
Our folks that have been hunting for a long time still like going off of the paper and the traditional ways that they've always done it because it's what they know.
Yeah.
But the phone can definitely help.
One, just being able to access your license or purchase your license wherever you need to. You don't have to go somewhere specifically.
Yeah.
But it can also hinder in some times that a lot of these people are hunting in places with no service, or if they're camping out there, the phone dies. So there are benefits to having the paper copy as well.
Yeah.
But I'd say most are going the phone route, and it's easy.
Yeah.
It's easy to keep up with. Everything's instant. You buy it, it's on your account, your system. We can see it. You can see it.
I'm going to put a plug in while we're talking about it, because I love the phone. That's great.
Yeah.
I will say what a lot of people do is use the app, and then you don't have service and you can't pull your license up. So I'll tell everybody, screenshot. That's the easiest way for everybody. And you'll get that confirmation email, and then of course trying to find your email from 6 months ago. It just so screenshot it. That's the best way. It makes it life easy for everybody. So I love the online portion.
Yeah.
So much easier. Everybody keeps their phone with them.
One thing I feel like though that it's kind of taken back from is like going to the check-in stations where everybody used to show off their deer and brag and shoot the breeze with everyone,
That's a thing of the past.
Yeah, I know. That sucks too, man, because it was always a good time.
You had a lot of people that never even made it to the woods. They just stopped there.
Exactly.
That was their hangout.
All the old timers.
Yes.
Yep.
What I will say on some of the WMAs,
it could still be like that.
They still are running the check station to where you've got your transportation tag.
Yep.
You fill that out, and then you bring it to the check station. But you do get a bunch of guys that are just hanging out, seeing what's happening, and they've never made it beyond the campground and the check station.
We saw that this week, didn't we?
Yes.
What are some of the most common violations y'all see?
Compliance would probably be, in my opinion, compliance. So like just licensing.
Oh, okay.
When that's across the board as far as boat registrations, just renewing the hunting license. That's probably, I would say, a blanket number one.
Yes,
and a lot of that is, I forgot. Truly did forget. Yeah. Some of it's like, I don't feel like spending the money. I'm just going to risk it, and that would probably be the number one I would see.
I would think so, but you've been at it a lot longer than I have. But also your after hours and folks just like ATV, UTV riding OHV stuff.
Gotcha.
On the WMAs.
Oh,
he sees that pretty common.
Yes, and either after hours or blazing their own trails.
Yeah.
You see a lot more people now with like e-bikes and stuff like that?
Yes. Yeah, definitely with that, and they've just got to adhere to the same rules as any vehicle. But because they're so easily capable of going everywhere, it's hard to resist at times.
So is an e-bike considered a motor vehicle in Tennessee?
Yes, it is.
Is it? Are there like restrictions there? Yeah, amperage or like the CCs or whatever, like 750 watt to 1,000 watt. Is there like a...
Seen that in other states where if it's below, I think it was that 750 watt limit that
it's not considered.
Correct, but they are all the same here.
Because a lot of our verbiage is foot traffic only. So that it's not, or no motorized vehicle or foot traffic only. So kind of skirts around some of those other states. And I've dealt with it. I was in Colorado and, be walking in 2 hours before daylight, and next thing you know, here comes a right by you. Like, what just happened?
Yeah, exactly.
But they shut them down, and I don't know if it's size or what, I wasn't sure, but it's on National Forest.
Gotcha.
I could see as a user, I was like, wow, that's
a cheat sheet.
Yeah, it was kind of like, man, walking for hours. I'm 6 miles in, and here comes a bike that put no effort in.
They're pretty sweet. We use them, so.
Oh, they're a cool tool.
Yeah. For sure.
Not to get off topic, but how was your Colorado hunt?
It was really good. I didn't have a tag this year, which is the kind of the only time I guess I've ever been out there and not had a tag. But another wildlife officer, Rusty Thompson, another sergeant, we've been hunting together for years, and he had been put in for this tag for, this was the 9th year, 10th year, somewhere right in there.
Yeah.
So it was pretty desired unit, but of course Point Creek, we can go down the whole tunnel there. Yeah. Should have been a 4-point unit turned into a 10-point unit. Great hunt. We was immediately on bulls. It's really good. We hunted really high. We were camping at 12,000 feet, so it was really cool. Up there with bighorn sheep. It was nice. Yeah. But archery hunting, everything has to go right. So we passed on some real young bulls. Hunted about a 3 to 320 class bull for several days and just had him at 65. Couldn't connect. Anyways, build up. Big rain last day, get a bull in, and he choked at about a 70-yard shot. So, but it was a good hunt.
As most elk hunts go,
It was, I'd been more upset if he wouldn't have shot. I mean, it was, but there was a lot going on. It was
sure
that rain and last day and
70 yards.
70 yards is a long shot.
It is a long shot.
But it's a great hunt. We were on probably 10 to 15 bulls, and I was showing him some videos. At one point, we had bulls in it. We moved camps to a different part of the unit. And we had knew this bull's around, right at sunset, there's bugling, but too far to make a play. And then we go to bed, and then about midnight, the world came unglued. They were fired up, and we actually had bulls about 7 yards from our tent. So we couldn't even sleep. And we couldn't even get up to get coffee that morning because they were so close to us. So, found the tracks. But I mean, I could literally hear their nostrils. And there's bugling, growling, and it was an
awesome experience. Sounds like,
It's exactly what you wanted.
Yeah.
Except I just needed to get daylight.
It
was like we was counting the time down. It was about 45 minutes before daylight. So then we got on those bulls and just one thing after another didn't connect. Good
sure.
Oh, for sure.
So it sounds like you are have a pretty deep love for the outdoor space. I mean, did you grow up hunting?
Yeah, so obviously I was born in Monterey, so right here, Putnam County native. So deer hunting, turkey hunting type of stuff. And then, I used to run an outdoor store here in Cookville Outdoor Junction.
Okay, that's where I know you from.
It's like, this
guy's so familiar.
I think
I can't put it yet.
Linked us to.
Yeah. That's right. Yep, I remember.
So I got in with him, and the owner Steve is very big into the outdoor industry as far as hunting, and so I got into the elk hunting, and that opened doors, and I just. It's just addictive in a whole different way.
Oh, yeah.
Got into some guiding in New Mexico, and then just I fell in love with the West in general. And I did a podcast last year with our guys. I took an individual and killed a Tennessee elk last year. I took a juvenile tag, and that was a cool experience. She got to kill it was roughly a 330 class bull in Tennessee. So to be a part of that was like one of the coolest things I've ever got.
Oh, yeah, dude, because that's like to draw one of those tags is like once in a lifetime.
Once in a lifetime.
Yeah.
And she was the only youth tag. So we had the whole state, all the units to ourselves. And it was neat. That was a cool eye-opening experience. So, just been in, I guess, always trying to learn more, do more. And that Western world just opened up a whole different environment.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I've never hunted out west, so it's definitely on the bucket list.
Don't do it.
Well,
it's highly addictive and highly expensive.
I can't help it. I'm going 26. We're going to New Mexico to hunt.
Okay.
What
part?
I'm not sure. I'm going with Bill Cothran. Do you know Bill Cothran?
I don't know that name.
He is the director for, is it USSA?
Yeah.
Yeah. The youth hunt and the military hunt. He does that for people. So he invited me to go with him because I've been helping him out a little bit. And so
that's when?
In 26.
26. That's coming up pretty quick. Be a rifle hunt.
No, it's going to be archery.
Archery.
Yep.
That's a late archery hunt.
Yeah.
Beautiful country. I've been up in that Chom.
No, I mean 2026, not.
Oh,
yeah.
I thought you said 26th of this month.
No. No, yeah, 2026. So
that northern part, I spent some time in. A lot of elk.
Oh yeah,
a lot of elk and beautiful country. I think you'll have a great time.
Oh yeah,
I'm sure of it.
I'm sure.
You back on the elk in the Tennessee. What does that population look like? Is it growing?
And you might be able to chime in on this more, being from the WMA side. But from what I understand, it's continually growing up, and we're getting migratory elk that will bounce back forth from Kentucky into Tennessee and move back forth. My experience there, we were on a lot of bulls. I think the first morning we had 5 bulls in 30 minutes. So it was very active.
Well, the most important question, are we going to get more tags for those elk? Or
it's been going up. I think we're up to 19 tags. I believe that's right.
Okay. Nice.
So I believe it's, maybe, I checked my math, but it's like 8 rifle tags, 8 archery tags, 1 conservation tag, and 1 youth tag. Something along those lines.
Sure.
So, I think that it started out at like 6 tags, when it first started. So we're going up. I don't know if they'll increase. I'm not sure. I can't talk to the math.
Maybe one day.
Yeah, and as far as I know, population numbers are still going up. And like you said, they're moving into Kentucky and back.
Yeah.
Not really spreading out as much, which I think is just habitat limitations.
Sure. Yeah.
Where they're at. And then you've got the zone that they're protected in, and you've got those tags for.
But if they leave the zone,
Yeah,
they're
technically
fair game.
Yeah, yeah.
So the elk we had in Cookville, last year, that's fair game.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah,
Within deer season
Yeah.
and approved equipment for that season.
Correct.
Sure. Whether it's archery or whatever. But
And you do have to, if that ever happens again, you do have to contact immediately. You can't just tag it in online. You do have to contact us on those.
So, did you guys ever find out where that elk came from?
Never did. I personally think it might have came from a high fence, but
Because there's one close up there
And
to
hanging
where it
around.
was at. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know, but it did not display wild elk behavior
Sure.
necessarily. It was okay being close to roads and okay being close to people.
Well, that was kind of my thought as it came off of probably that high fence place up there in Hanging Limb. So
He stayed very visual there for a while.
Yeah,
I've seen him a bunch on the interstate.
In the kudzu patch there, and he was there about 3-4 times a week.
I got to where I would just drive up the interstate to see if I could see him. Yeah, because I mean, the first time I drove through there, I was like, hold
There's
up.
no way I saw one.
I did not just see an elk.
yeah, that's wild.
He moved, and that kind of shows you how just the territory. He would be there in the morning, and then we were seeing him in Rickman
Yeah.
in the afternoon, and then he'd be on Woodcliff in Monterey the same day. It just shows you how many miles.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's
It's a
nothing
lot.
for them to move 5 miles
Yeah.
in a couple of hours.
Yeah.
And then he'd be in Calf Killer, on the complete other side. And
Really?
that elk was moving, and it's pretty easy to identify.
Yeah.
And it's not like you're getting a lot of these elk in this area. So
Yeah.
we would get pictures all over the place, and we're kind of mapping it out. And it's like, these things can travel.
Yeah.
Did
That's wild.
he end up dying or nobody knows?
The last time I know, I can personally document it, he was in Calf Killer. That's why I don't know.
Yeah.
My gut tells me that somebody
happened.
capitalized on that.
Yeah.
Somebody didn't know you could legally hunt him.
Right.
Yeah. Kept it quiet. Yeah.
One thing that I definitely want to talk about, and you'd probably be good at answering it. You see a lot of people hunting public, obviously, with you being over some of the WMAs. What's one thing you see hunters do wrong? Not illegally, but like not hunting far enough from the road, not going deep enough, stuff like that.
you asking in like a why they're not successful hunting, or just in general not?
I mean, what we see a lot of is maybe sometimes hunters don't go deep enough, and we have to go past them.
There is definitely that, which a lot of that is hunter preference.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all open, and those deer travel. You all know that they can just as easily be as close to the road as way back in there. But I would say getting off the beaten path a little bit, or just stacking up on top of each other. That this is my spot, and while you see somebody else there, maybe it's a good spot. So they don't really spread out. And then there's so many people that use public land, which I'm one of them. That the roads and traffic in the area pushes the animals further and further off of the roads and further into the woods. So you do need to I would recommend getting back there. Plus, you're going on a hunt, and it's nice to get back there and enjoy yourself and away from everybody. But traffic definitely changes the movements of the deers.
I'd say one thing we see, and we talked about it this week, but there is a hunt going on in Catoosa, and so we were patrolling out that way, and it's 8 o'clock, and there's people riding around in the trucks, and it's 8 o'clock. These deer are going to be moving, and that's one. And I'm grew up hunting Catoosa and other WMAs, and you'll see people, they're up and moving at 7:30. They're already out of their stand, an hour after daylight, and
walking around.
And I think that for me, I would encourage people, hey,
get away.
stick as long as you can.
Yeah, stick it out a little bit longer.
Yeah, exactly.
And there is a lot of that. Again, back at the check stations, they'll swing by and ain't nothing moving today, and it's like, it's 8:30 in the morning. For you to be here, unless you were just right here around there, you've been out of the woods for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
So
Is Catoosa the only WMA that's got the antler deer restrictions?
no,
All of them?
it's not on all the WMAs, but there are more than just Catoosa, and that's some have picked that up statewide. Just I guess you got to choose somewhere between quantity versus quality, and trying to find a balance in that, so that tends to allow the deer to get a touch older.
Sure.
but then we also see a lot that are harvested. I mean, as soon as they hit that threshold.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
And what is it? It's like 4 on one side.
4 on up one side or a 15-inch outside spread.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Which I always tell the hunters, it's a lot easier to count than guess your 15 inches.
Yeah,
For sure.
for sure.
I'm sure you get some that tote the line pretty close, huh?
Yeah, there definitely are.
You guys
And
pretty
I mean,
lenient
there's-
with that, or you?
Try to give benefit of the doubt. You know, the trophy to the deer or the hunter is in their own eyes, so that might be the biggest deer they've ever seen, or ever had the opportunity to harvest. So you don't want to take that from them, but there is definitely probably been where it's like, man, you just smoked this decent 1.5-year-old deer that was a 6-point.
Yeah.
But yeah, we gotta draw the line there.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
you know, benefit of the doubt usually will go.
The was talking about law enforcement and about game wardens is that we do have an amazing part of our job for discretion.
Yeah,
and
sure.
that is awesome.
Yeah, that's great.
And he may do things a little different than me, but generally we're on the same page. But it goes into, you know, talking about the 15-inch. You know, are you going to write a ticket and sees that guy's deer for 14.7/8 or not? You know, and that's something that we will have discretion on doing. Same thing with fish. You know,
Sure. Yep.
is this 20-inch rainbow or is it 19.7/8 rainbow? You know, what are you willing as an officer to put your foot down on, I guess.
Sure.
And that's where and I think our guys, and I will definitely attest to our guys here in the area, they have good common sense judgment.
Sure.
And the totality of the circumstances, you know, what happened, what was going on.
Well, and probably a good judge of character for the outdoorsman as well, whether they know better or not.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
It is. You know, is it a kid's first deer ever?
yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
there is different things, but that
Sure.
and that's a big part of our job is it's talking to people, getting to know them on a personal level, and just finding out, you know, what happened here today. And so that kind of goes into how we make our decisions on these things.
Sure. Yep.
I tell everybody the law is black and white.
Yeah.
100%. You can read it like on the paper, it's black and white, but there is a large gray area
Yeah.
that we work in and we
Sure.
live in and daily. So and that's something I know our guys here are really good at doing, is distinguishing that gray area.
Something,
That's great.
I'm glad you talked about the gray area. Something that has been recent and everybody's talking about gray area is the thermal drones. What's your opinion on those?
My opinion is that it can be a really great tool.
Sure.
Just like anything else. I'm all about let's not let deer go to waste. Let's not let a trophy go to waste. But more than anything, just the animal itself not to go to waste. So it's a great tool. I mean, there's no argument that you could scan so much so fast with a thermal drone. But we also know it's so easy for those things to be used in a different manner. Not necessarily intentionally to start with.
Sure.
Opportunistic.
Yeah.
Opportunity. If I can talk. Opportunities may arise when you're doing something right for the right reason, and it may sway people to do something maybe they shouldn't have done. So there's a lot of research going on right now to that. So I'm not going to talk a whole lot about it because there is a lot
Sure.
play on that. But I do know that is being studied in our state right now to kind of see what we need to do with that.
Yeah. I mean, if you give a person an inch, you know, they'll take a mile and they'll abuse. There's people out there that'll abuse stuff easy. So.
How do you stop it?
Yeah, that's
either yay or nay.
Yeah.
You know, and the technology is growing so fast, not just here, you know, I mean, it's, worldwide, but, you know, I mean, you look at some states, Alaska being one of those, you know, you can't fly and hunt the same day. And that may be something that we need to look at. You know, if you're going to fly a drone, okay, you can't hunt that property for X number of hours. You know, I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. It does give advantages that you could never have 5 years ago, 10 years ago.
For sure.
So we're having to look at the technology growth and really step back and try to make educated decisions on setting these laws on what benefits everybody.
Well,
But keep things fair.
Yeah, I feel like cell cams fall in that category as well.
Right. You look at Western states, trail camera, you know, I can't remember the states, but it seems like it was like Arizona, New Mexico.
Kansas, didn't they do?
Kansas
On
had
public
cell
land.
cams on public, and then Iowa did no cameras overnight, I think.
I'm not sure on
Think
that,
so.
but I know a lot of states are starting to say, hey, this is almost becoming unfair advantage.
Sure. Yeah.
And I think a lot of it is on public land.
Yeah.
Not necessarily.
They hurt me worse than they help because I'm like, all right, that deer was there. I'm going to go hunt. And then, he's in a different spot the next day. So
it's funny. I tell people that, that's a trail camera can either make you get in the woods or it make you sit at the house.
Yeah.
It's kind of a weird thing when you really think about it. You set a camera up and it's covering, let's say, 25-yard area by, 20 yards, 20 by 25. If that deer doesn't walk through there, people more times than not won't hunt.
Yeah.
But it could have walked 5 feet behind.
Yeah, exactly. Right behind it.
That has changed
Yeah.
hunters and how they approach hunting completely. If you start seeing bucks on camera, everybody's in the woods.
Sure.
You don't see them for one day, maybe I'll sit at home. So it's kind of neat watching how people react to it. I'm just as guilty as anybody.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
And do y'all see Onyx helping people out a lot? You think it's a pretty good tool?
I'm a fan.
Absolutely. We use it daily.
I use it for work all the time, and especially your boundary lines.
Yeah,
are
that's
really what
definitely
I'm
want
using
to talk
it for. Tracking roads or mapping out roads. We use it there. Just points of interest. That I'm for it, but it's really it is accurate. But I can't say, like, for the property line stuff, you still need to be paying attention, looking for painted trees, posted stuff, because it's not always dead on.
Yeah.
That's another tool that's changed hunting.
Yeah.
Especially, and I'm trying not to get away from Tennessee since we're here for Tennessee talk, but Western hunting, it's changed it.
Oh, yeah.
There's so much hidden land that nobody really knew about until Onyx came out. And then all of a sudden, it's like all those places that we kind of used to hit.
Yeah.
Some hidden pockets, and now it's not hidden anymore.
No.
But it's good on the fact. I'm definitely a fan of it. There's public land for everybody, and it brings that to light. I think there is more land than what we thought.
It has made it easier for some to do their satellite scouting, where you might have some people get upset. It's like, I walked all the way back in here and found this.
Yeah.
Or kind of dumbly walked into it, and somebody else is sitting on their phone,
put time,
or whatever, and it's like, we're going to go right in there.
It's game changing though. This unit we hunted in Colorado the other day, and we'd never been there. We drove by there, a couple of years ago. Where do you start? Well, Onyx is where you start.
Yeah.
And we were on bulls literally first day of a place you picked off a topo map. That's all it was, and so it is a great tool, and I encourage anybody to use it. It's another tool to put in your tool bag.
I think it's probably the most beneficial tool that's come out in recent modern history for hunting.
Yeah.
It's e-maps. It's
even the places that are close, Catoosa was 45 minutes away.
Yeah.
But you still have everyday life, kids, work. It's hard to get out there. At least you can rule out some things where not to go real quick, and if you start looking, turn into different layers on, for the way I hunt, I do want to be far away. And there's those, I can't remember the layer they put on there, but it will shade out hard to get to areas, and there's some parameters you can set. So for Western hunting, that's where I focus. If it is not in one of those highlight areas, which is generally around 5 miles, is kind of how it is out there. I don't know how I set that preference. But that tells me real quick, there's a whole bunch of this whole unit that I'm not going to hunt because it's too close to roads to me.
Sure.
Right? So the same thing, you can do it on every level. And that kind of goes back to what I was talking about. If I know how I want to hunt and I want to hunt away from people, turn those layers on and be able to get away from those.
Exactly.
Those people that can't.
Easy to access.
Right. So I think it's an awesome tool. And like I said, not only recreational, but work. Work is huge.
Oh, yeah. I can see it for sure.
Have you had any problems with people trespassing, saying they're on the boundary or anything like that because of Onyx or something like that?
I've had one.
He's been around longer than I have. That I've talked to people that said they were and said they weren't, and it came between a hunter and the landowner.
Yeah,
and I guess they're both kind of right. And this goes back to previous job was getting boundaries marked.
Yeah,
and we had them coming in and actually like GPSing them and shooting them with lasers. And it was just the discretion in technologies that laser guided GPS line they're putting on there is super accurate.
Yeah.
But based off of what the gentleman had his property marked 30, 40 years ago, couldn't be as accurate. So
they had surveyed it that was his property.
Yeah.
So the new survey moved the line just a little bit.
Yeah.
So neither was right, neither was wrong.
Sure.
But that was really the only instance I knew of. And from talking to people, you're just Joe Schmo hunter that goes out a couple times a year, or even the new people, they can find their way back to their vehicle a lot easier.
For sure. Less rescues for you guys, right? That's funny.
I've not had many issues with it. But I just encourage people, hey, pay attention to what's going on around you. Don't just be staring at the map. If there's posted signs or painted boundaries, that's probably the boundary.
Well, just respect it anyway. Right. I mean, it's
but I had one instance. It was in the county here, and it was just a guy was reading the map. He's like, and it was actually pretty getting there. It's pretty easy to see. It's a timber cut versus not cut.
Sure,
you're going to cut to the property line, and so it was. From the outside looking in, it was super easy to tell. Okay, you're on the wrong land by like 50 yards because of just the way the timber cut and the old painted line was.
Yeah.
But he was just like, nope, this is what the on-X is, and this is what I'm going by. And it's like, well,
that's not entirely accurate.
Right,
yeah.
And I think it's it's all based off. I think they pull their data straight from Tennessee property data as far as the property lines. So we know that there's mistakes on both sides.
For sure.
Just I encourage people just look around. Regardless, don't necessarily pile up on the property lines because you're just asking for trouble.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's going to be a clear property lines on like mapping software. It's going to be off a little bit, but like you're saying, people have their boundaries marked most of the time, or you could tell by timber cut or whatever. Like that's probably where the 9 times out of 10, that's where the property line's actually going to be.
I had some common courtesy. As we were talking hunting public land, and there's nothing saying the guy can't come and climb the
tree right beside
you're in or right beside you. But most people aren't looking for that. Do you need to sit right on the property line, or can you just maybe back up?
Yeah.
I think it goes back to the grass is greener on the other side.
Well,
but that's what that's we're going back to common violations. I'd say not necessarily a violation, but a common call that we deal with is that hunting on the property line.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, we really can't do nothing. As long as they're on their land, it don't matter if it's an inch or a foot.
Yeah.
They're legally where they're supposed to be. I agree. It's not what you want to see. So we encourage people, hey,
be courteous to your neighbor.
Yeah. It's just it's not worth an argument over a deer. It's just really not.
It's really not.
I feel like that goes a long way too on public land. Like you was talking, climbing up in the same tree. I mean, just a little bit of courtesy.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, they might be here asking somebody in the parking lot, which direction are you going? Okay, I'll go this way. I mean, that goes a lot. And if I was hunting a boundary line, I'd tell you exactly where my deer's going after I shot it. That crossed it 100%. 9 times out of 10.
We all hunt for enjoyment. I mean, at some point, whether it's you're a trophy hunter, meat hunter, or whatever, it's for enjoyment.
Sure.
And I'm not going to enjoy sitting 5 foot from a guy in the woods. There's no enjoyment. No. I go there to to have the peace and
get away.
Yeah.
Also, it's going to ruin the experience for you if you go in and sit beside somebody, or somebody comes in and sits beside you, the experience is ruined because
you're frustrated. You're frustrated. And it's not going to go away in 5 minutes. It's going to affect the whole day.
Yeah, exactly. So
we pulled into Colorado. That again, never been to this road, and pulled in. And since pulled in, there's some camps in there, and very few camps, but they did exactly that. And we're talking about a huge, thousands upon thousands, tens of thousands of acres. So it's a big area. Yeah. There's only 3 camps in here, and they did just that. They came right up to us. We're getting our packs ready, and we were going to pack in them for 3 or 4 days. And they just, hey guys, what direction are you going? I said, man, we're going up.
Yeah.
Perfect. We're going this way. And that kept us from walking on each other. And, I'm not trying to hide anything. I mean, you got 10,000 acres up there. It's not like I'm going to go, step right on one's bed first thing. So it was, man, just like you said, it just makes it better for everybody. Just real quick, hey, you're not asking for the exact tree I'm sitting in. No, I tell you, I'm going this way, and just makes everybody's day.
Less calls to you guys. So.
Absolutely.
Have you seen more people hunt public land because of social media and some of the YouTube stuff?
I think so.
Yeah,
for sure. I mean, real popular, like the Seek One guys really put some of that on the map, and there's smaller parcels. Also, I think just kind of with the way things are going in the economy, like not everybody's got access to their huntable land or sizes of land they'd like to hunt. So that's pushing people public. Leases are getting more expensive.
For sure.
Farms are getting bought up and developed. It's,
Things are changing. But I think there is an influx on public land hunting. There really is a lot of opportunity. And it's good opportunity.
Yeah. Yeah, we got a lot of public land in Tennessee.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, going to Catoosa is 80,000 acres.
Yeah, it's huge.
That's for Tennessee standards, that's a huge chunk of land.
Yeah. Is Big South Fork considered part of Catoosa, or is that different?
No, it's
you can hunt Big South Fork though, right? I think parts of it.
I don't really know.
I'd have to double check. I think you can at times. I don't want to misspeak on
Okay,
that.
yeah.
It's not agency land.
Okay,
Right.
yeah.
It's a I guess state forest.
Yeah.
So it's not ours to manage.
Gotcha,
So.
okay.
But then it also lays in a lot of it, or most of it is all in a different district.
Sure,
So we don't
okay.
even get up there.
You don't even care about that.
And it's not a state park. But it's kind of like the state parks. Some of them have hunts,
Sure,
but it's not just going to be open necessarily all hunting season.
Yeah.
But there's more opportunity there as well.
Well, the only reason I brought that up is it's close to Catoosa. So
It is.
Yes.
It's far. But you look around, you got Catoosa, you got Cordell Hole. You've got this, it's not necessarily our land, but the Corps of Engineer land, around Dell Lake. You got Center Hill Lake. I mean, there is, when you really, and again, go look at social media and you look at on X, you can open the door to thousands of acres that are right here. And, and knowing that you're going to have to deal with the hunting pressure, but it's still for the guys that lost their leases and, can't afford the lease or whatever the situation is, there's a lot of land.
Yeah.
If you're willing to put in the work, you can get on some big deer. I mean,
They're there.
yeah, I got a buddy that's killed several big ones off Bridgestone. So, Bridgestone's a big one.
And it's a
too,
big area as well.
Yeah, it's huge.
That's where the elk is, right? Some of them, Bridgestone, or is that
No.
Royal Blue.
Royal Blue?
Which part of White County, Van Buren County?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was thinking Bridgestone Recreation, not the WMA. My bad.
Yes. Yeah, that's up around North Cumberland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
So that's huge.
the elk units, can you deer hunt in them as well?
Yes.
Yes. And actually, it's not, they don't even close those down during the elk hunts.
So you could still, I would sure hate to be deer hunting in an elk walk by the.
That'd be hard, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah. Everything you had. What would y'all say, like, the best quota hunts we have here in Tennessee would be, besides the elk, obviously?
A lot of that depends on what you're after.
That's what I was going to say. It's
Some of these waterfowl draws in West Tennessee those are some
Pretty
big time
awesome,
hunts.
Yeah.
President's Island is, would probably go down as, everybody, it's no hidden secret. It was, one of the biggest ones. But from what I gather, it still got hit pretty hard from that flood years ago. I don't know this, but the recoup. But, look, you ask, I guess kind of like what you're saying, what are you looking for? Are you looking for a lot of deer? So it'd be a whole different unit or a whole different draw if you're just looking for numbers. Or are you looking for less people? Then there's different units that you'd want to go to.
Sure.
For a long time, Catoosa was really ranked really, really high, and I hunted those hunts, and we've killed, thankfully, I've killed, some decent public land deer, some, 130s, 140 class deer off that area. And, especially for the time period, that would have been 15 years ago. That was some pretty good deer for around here.
Yeah.
So I think I read last year there was a bear killed there. It was like the first one in a long time.
Well, they opened
wrong
that
about
up
that, or
On
Catoosa?
Catoosa. Yeah, so it coincides with, I think it's Bear Zone 4.
Yeah.
That it's going to only fall during the archery season. So there's the archery deer bear combo.
Yeah.
And they killed 4 or 5 of them. And I actually saw the one that came through. I want to say it was like 430 dressed. I mean, it was a big bear, especially for
Yeah, it is a big bear.
up on the plateau there.
Yeah.
That sounds like coastal bears.
Yeah.
But the weight of them. This was before it was open on Catoosa, but there was, I was at the check station there one day and saw a 5'11" get checked in.
Wow.
511-pound bear. That's
It's a lot of bear.
a lot of bear for Tennessee. But we were there
Absolutely.
last weekend and they harvested one.
Awesome.
We talked to the hunter and it wasn't a huge bear, but it's a bear, it's a nice bear.
Yeah.
So it's I guess been open for a couple of years now.
Yes.
On Catoosa.
Yeah, I want to say they killed one 2 years ago too.
Okay.
But last year was a very successful bear harvest for us.
Awesome.
How do y'all feel about the bear moving in?
I love it personally. I know a lot of headache around bears.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If you don't,
Andrew can speak to that for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you probably got them back where you're from.
Yeah, up in Fentress County. Read up with
now
them.
that's I got contacted today to actually do a mount on a bear from a guy that killed it in Fentress the other day. That is the place to go kill a bear.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there is a ton of bears. And I just got done. One of the guys he hired on with is in Fentress County, another officer. So I've been training him in as well. And it was eye-opening. How many, I'd look at my phone. Of course, we're on call 24/7.
Sure.
And every time I turned, my phone would ding. It was a bear call in Fentress County. Is bear in my garage, bear getting my chickens, bear getting after my livestock. I mean, it was almost daily. And I was like, man, this is something we don't necessarily deal with, but it's just being here in Putnam. I mean, there's a random bear that comes through from time to time.
Yeah.
But just 45 minutes down the road and covered up in bears.
And they added that week-long gun season for bears, which is in December. Typically for me, my bears moved out by 1st of November.
Generally.
I wouldn't say moved out, but they're definitely on acorns and you're not seeing them as much.
I think it's just a 2-day season.
Is it?
I believe.
I knew it was a gun season. I didn't even really look at
I
it.
actually wrote that down. I've got December 14th and 15th.
Okay.
And it's actually here in Putnam as well.
So it's anything. Okay. Yeah.
Interesting.
I don't, like you said, most of the time, if we're seeing bears here, it's just a few, and it's generally this month. Even November, we don't really see them. But that moving September, October, they're moving around.
Yeah.
The acres are falling. And,
Do you ever see them up in the limit? Maybe as many as there is.
I don't know.
I think we'll need to do more research behind to get a better idea of total population and kind of where it's trending to. But I mean, it definitely, just from what we're seeing, is increasing.
Yeah, sure.
We look at how they change the seasons.
Yeah.
We used to never have a season in Putnam, and now we do.
Yeah.
We not only have incidental take, now we have a 2-day bear season. So if you follow the trends,
I would think so.
You could
Yeah.
kind of see maybe reevaluating it down the road.
Yeah. When I moved down here, I was like, no hogs, no bears, and then here they come. They're slowly following me.
Yeah.
You're not moving them, are you?
I hope.
Hogs is
bring those with you, we got a problem.
yeah. Hogs is another story. I mean, I bet y'all get a lot of calls on those too, huh?
That is one animal I
Despise. Yeah.
They can just, I think, two can become 66 in a calendar year.
Yeah.
That's not counting what their offspring are reproducing. I mean, it's like wildfire. And
Yeah.
the only people that want hogs are people that have never had to deal with them.
Yeah.
It's so destructive.
That's the best way to put it.
I feel like
anybody that comes up to us and says, "Hey, how do I get hogs on my property?" I'm like, "You have no experience.
You don't.
yeah.
You don't want these things."
It's like you can't kill enough of them.
No,
You really can't. And I mean, even with trapping efforts and hunting seasons, and even currently with some of the dog hunting, like
Yeah.
you might push them off a property, you might keep them at bay, but we're not getting rid of them.
No. And trap. We do a lot of trapping efforts on public land and private land as well. And,
Sure.
you really think you're doing good. Some years, you're catching, sometimes 30 at a time in a trap, which is a good hit.
Yeah.
And then your camera stays up for 3 more weeks, and there's another group of 30 that's moved right back in. And it's just, it's almost impossible. It really is. You can kind of keep them at bay, but there's no
Never
way
going to eliminate them.
So,
Yeah.
I don't know how you ever could.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely an issue. And then coyotes as well. Some laws changed about that this year, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, that was there's been a lot of push for that over the years. But they did open a night hunting season for predators, and it is bobcats as well.
Yeah.
Kind of one big difference there would be the limit. Unlimited on coyote versus one cat at night. One bobcat
Yeah.
at night. But that was new this year. Actually, I had wrote down the dates because if I don't write it down, I can't remember some of the stuff.
I hear that.
We had the August 1 to August 11th season, and then it'll open back up January 18th through March 9th.
Is that bobcat?
That's
Or the nighttime. Okay, gotcha.
And then June through August 10th as well. And as officers, most of us are for the opportunity. You know, we know the predation, as especially looking at turkeys.
I was going to say,
I mean, it's a huge deal, and we know that that's a major factor. But we also know that when you take spotlights out at night and thermal imaging at night,
people are going to abuse it. Yeah,
So
100%.
For the enforcement side, we were really wanting to have that opportunity for people, but we just didn't want it during big game season.
Sure.
You know, I mean,
Makes sense.
we're getting calls constantly about spotlighting or now
road hunting,
thermal imaging. So now with these season dates, you can't claim, hey, I'm out there.
You're limiting that.
Right. Yeah. So that was kind of a foot in both worlds there. Hey, we want you to do it, but we want you to do it outside of these dates.
Yeah.
Which goes back to the inspection authority you were hitting on earlier, and another reason that's so important is
100%
figuring out, okay, these folks are just out predator hunting.
Yeah.
No problem with it, but you never know until you're able to ask.
Exactly. Yep.
I feel like used to it wasn't as much as a problem because more people trapped, and I feel like trapping is almost a lost art in today's world.
It is. You know, we've going back to what does the game warden do question, what does a wildlife officer do?
Yeah.
We are pushing that trapping program, and there's a lot of guys here, and I'll be the first to say I'm not the best trapper in the world. I don't get into it.
It's tough.
It is. It can be kind of expensive getting into it.
Yeah.
You know, there's some officers in our district, and you know, Kyle Wallen would probably be one of the number one that I could just think of. He's in Van Buren County. He's a sergeant down that way. Phenomenal trapper. Phenomenal. Yeah. And him and Pete Giesland, a sergeant in Warren County, they do these programs like workshops. That's what I was looking for. And they're, you know, the whole thing is groups of kids and adults both. Hey, I'll show you how to set a trap. I'll show you how what works, what doesn't work, and they'll spend the whole day doing it. And you know, that's what we need, and it's a cool way to get kids involved. You know, I've got my son a couple of traps, and I've not done my due diligence on getting him anything caught in them yet, but it's a great tool, and it's a whole nother season. If you're looking for opportunities to be out in the woods, that trapping season is a great time to expand opportunities.
Yeah.
But it would do wonders for our small game, turkey population, our fund recruitment. I mean, it's a huge, awesome tool that once the fur market, like you said, that's what killed it.
Yeah, that's what killed it for sure.
Mm-hmm. Although that you'll see those spikes at times. You know, I talked to some of those guys that sell some good winter coats, and those cats will get back up from time to time to around $100 a pelt, and that's pretty good. But when you're selling them for $23 a pelt, it's just not even hardly worth it.
Like you said, trapping's expensive. I mean, when you get into it, all the gear, the traps, the bait, the time. Mm-hmm.
You start looking at those lures, and I've not priced them in a long time, but you start looking at those scent lures, and for a little pill bottle size of scent, you're looking at $75, $80 real quick.
Maybe we should make it a social media trend, then people start doing it.
That's right.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Going back to some new stuff, 3 does a day for our unit now.
That's correct.
What led to that?
Yes. You're for it.
Yeah, I'm for it.
We're kind of right there on the line. I haven't looked at the population data to necessarily talk to it on the management side, on the biology side. But we got a lot of deer here.
Yeah,
we really do. And I think we talked about it before. It's just the hunting has went down as far as if you look at
participation.
Participation
license sales.
Mm-hmm. So when that goes down, then your harvest directly is going to go down as well for the most part. I know there's some phenomenons, but so that the deer population is going up, hunter population is going down. Mm-hmm. So the way to curve that is up the limits.
Yeah.
So there is the 3 does a day in Putnam County now. Well, and we're right here on the line. We're the furthest east in that unit.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of people for it. There's a lot of people against it.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it still comes down to, I think a lot of people are really worried about it, especially on the eastern end of the county. Putnam's a kind of a unique county. the western end, say 111's a good geographical barrier. 111 west is a lot more deer than 111 east.
Yeah.
When you get up on the mountain, there's just not as many deer.
Yeah.
So I think the people on the east were like really hated to see it coming.
Yeah.
People on the west were probably like, hey, we got plenty of deer and we'd like to kill more. So I see both sides of it, but I think ultimately I don't think it's going to affect the people that didn't want it much. I mean, it takes a lot of work to get 3 does a day.
I don't see it affecting as much, and this is just my own opinion.
Sure.
That how many hunters do you know that even if you can kill 3 a day, are going to continue to kill 3 a day?
Yeah.
Overall.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to say is like, I'm for it because there's an opportunity I may want to take a couple does. I'm not going to kill 3 a day. I don't see a need to kill 3 a day. Also, I don't want to do all that work.
That's a lot, right? Drag,
you know what I mean? It's a lot of work.
And and we've always done our own deer, and at our house. But the going rate's $120 for process, and you start doing 3 of those a day.
Yeah, it gets expensive.
It's a hobby.
Yeah.
That and across the board, have been with folks who, even if they do tag out throughout their whole year, and they're meat hunting.
Yeah.
Once the freezer's full, most of the time they're done.
Yeah.
Unless they might be helping somebody out, which can still be the case. But across all the hunters as a whole, I don't think that their harvest numbers are going to change. A lot of them just go out and want to get that 1 a year, maybe 2. And that allows that opportunity to potentially be easier just because they could do it in one day if it works out like that for them.
Yeah, I think the big thing, I had to go back, I don't remember the years, but Putnam in general, you can only do it during archery or muzzleloader.
Yeah.
Most muzzleloader hunters, I shouldn't say most, a lot of muzzleloader hunters, and I was included in that. I'm not going to shoot a doe. That was my opportunity to kill a good buck.
Yeah.
Your mind's always saying, if I kill a doe, there's a buck behind it.
Yeah.
There's a buck chasing that doe. So that took that whole week out for a lot of hunters that wouldn't kill a doe. And then the next step was they had a rut period.
Yeah, sure.
They got the whole year, whole season to say, hey, I want to take, let's just say 5 does off this 100 acres. Now it's not pushed in that November rut. They can push it into January or late December or whenever they want to. So I think that part, as a manager of your own property, I think that was a pretty cool opportunity that, hey, we can do it when we want to. And
One thing we talked about, we sit down with Matt Simcox from Hunters for the Hungry. That opens up a lot more doors to be able to donate more deer as well, which is well needed, especially right now. They're sending all that stuff up there. But you was talking about how there's, less numbers. Do you think that's because of social media and maybe people are holding off for those bigger deer?
I think in general, in a 10, 15, 20-year span, you look just at our deer quality.
Yeah.
Deer are getting bigger.
Oh, yeah.
And that's because more people than not, they don't want to kill a younger buck anymore because it goes into that, hey, I can kill a doe instead of a spike.
Sure.
So let's let that spike walk. Well, that spike's your half-old deer. Well, that you can relate that directly to, well, let's not kill a small 8-point. It's still a year and a half old deer, same age class.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was a driving factor for a lot of years. We didn't have a lot of deer here, 20, 25, 30 years ago.
Sure. Yep.
So people were killing because it was an opportunity. Now we see deer everywhere, and you have plenty of opportunity to kill deer. So I think you are seeing these guys just saying, you know what, I can hold out. And
we have a theory that the cellular cameras and trail cameras in general are helping with that too.
I believe that. That one is out there somewhere.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
We lowered that bucks to $2 instead of 3, and it was even higher than that years past. People started getting more picky.
Yeah, exactly.
And then the cameras you put, and it all works together. But you put in the lower bag limit, cell cameras, just knowing that deer quality is better in general.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to shoot the first buck that walks through.
Exactly.
I know, like you said, I know there's 1 or 2 better ones, and I think there's a lot of factors going on, but they're all built off each other. For sure.
I see a difference there as far as your quality. Also, private land versus public land.
Yeah.
The mentality just changes as well.
It does.
Yeah.
If I don't shoot this,
it'll still
the
be
next Rex Ridge is going to smoke it. So
yeah.
I like the $2. I like the opportunity to be able to shoot $2, and I really like the 3 does a day. Of course, I'm obviously not going to shoot 3 does a day, but
Sure.
I'd like to be able to if I wanted to. Is there anything looking forward maybe into the future as far as season changes that the agency is looking at? Maybe a longer archery, shorter gun, something like that?
You know what? There's always some thoughts being pushed on, whether it's internally or externally. You know, some people are really for extended season. Some people are really for, hey, we got too long of a season. You know, one thing that as an agency and that I personally look at is, you know, you got to look at, and you see this as good as anybody in this industry. You're going to deal with people that are all about trophy deer. You know, they're 8 points on one side ain't even good enough. You know, they want to, 5 on one side or whatever it is. And then you're going to have people that they just want to go out and harvest a deer. They don't care what it is.
Sure.
So when you're looking at the overall picture, you got to understand everybody wants something different out of this adventure and, this deer season, this experience. So you can't manage the state of Tennessee for quality deer. Appease everybody. And you can't manage it for opportunity and appease everybody. So it is one thing that when you're looking at the management side is, you're managing people, not just deer.
Yeah.
And everybody has an opinion. Everybody feels strongly about their opinion. So I don't, you try to play in both fields, you try to provide, and that's why some WMAs have that more QDMA standards. For other ones are statewide. You can kill whatever you want to. So I don't know, I don't see anything coming down the pipe, but I just know there's constantly, there's something coming down. Hey, we'd like to see this. And that's why the agency is set up the way it is with the commission. You can come to any commission meeting and you can step up and say, hey, this is what
voice your opinion.
This is the reasons why we want it, and they'll hear that, and they'll make their the decision on what the public input is. And I think we're still on a every other year wildlife versus fishing. So like one year it'll be fishing regulations, the following year will be wildlife. Gotcha. So every other year we're kind of evaluating the overall big scale of hunting seasons. Not saying that there won't be something change every year, but for the most part, we're looking at a every other year cycle.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I personally would like to see just a little bit longer archery season. That's just me. Maybe maybe archery hunt into November, a little more, push the muzzleloader and the gun back. That's just my personal opinion. And we've kind of talked about this before. The gun season just seems to be a time where if it's brown, it's down, essentially, in which I ain't bashing that by no means. I would just love to see maybe a little bit more conservation, grow a little bit bigger deer.
Yeah, and again, it goes back to everybody's opinion. You see just the hot topic is always there. Overbait. That's always a big one that comes up.
I bet it is.
The straight wall cartridges. You got some people want to be more primitive on the archery season, but you got the other people that are wanting to be more liberal and, hey, we don't even want muzzleloader anymore. We want straight wall cartridges.
Yeah.
So, man, it's pulled so many ways. And I can see all sides of all of it. And you look at the surrounding states, what they're doing. You've got Kentucky that hunts over bait. You've got, the short seasons in Illinois is of a week, couple days rifle season. Then you got the straight wall cartridges. So, everybody's looking at what everybody else is doing around this. And
it's not the same, though.
It's not. No,
I don't envy your guys' job.
No, not at all.
Sounds terrible.
You can go into 5 different places of business today as a wildlife officer, and you're going to hear 5 completely different complaints. It's
exactly.
And we try to just, answer it kind of like that. Hey, we're trying to manage it the best for the whole public. It's not just
exactly
the trophy hunters or the meat hunters.
Sure.
One thing, especially with us, saddle hunting is getting bigger.
It is.
What's the agency doing to maybe promote saddle safety a little more, as big as it's becoming?
It's not just saddle hunting, but we teach hunter education programs all over the state, and I taught one in Putnam County just a couple weeks ago, and we in that particular class, it was in Monterey. We actually go out, put a harness on, show them how to get in and out of the stand, and it's actually a test question as well on the test, but it talks about tree stand safety in general, having that harness on. So we don't break it down necessarily to just saddle hunting, But tree stand hunting, that's one of the most dangerous things of deer hunting.
Absolutely.
It just falls out of stands, and I would highly recommend a saddle over a homemade stand, 100%. And we cover those things, and but we're seeing it. I don't know if it's social media based or
It's possible
or what, but you see these saddle hunting setups everywhere. And it's a unique way to be able to hunt deer now. Is
you probably see it a lot more.
It's definitely picking up. I don't. As far as the safety aspect of it goes, I don't know of anything specific, but I don't know anybody that saddle hunts that didn't advance to it. That just came in and didn't didn't know. So they were already wearing their harnesses and started either in the ground blind and then the ladder stand to the climber, and then they bumped up to the saddle stand. And definitely seeing a lot just because it's so easy to pack in, pack out.
That's the biggest
Doesn't really matter the tree you want in, you just go.
It don't take three people to put a ladder.
You don't need your fortunate buddy. Can you come help me?
What did people do on WMAs before tree stands? Sit on the ground?
Sit on the ground.
So tree stands are a big game changer.
Yeah, walked around.
Oh yeah,
Killed far fewer deer.
yes.
Yeah. What about the talk of some mountain lions? I read something in
Here's
in the Tennessee the magazine. I think was a little bit talk maybe releasing some mountain lions. Is that right?
Releasing?
That's news to me.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe I didn't read
I'd
that.
be greatly surprised if we were going to release any of them mountain lions.
Well, we got hung up on wolves in Colorado the other day, so that might have been where that's coming from. But
They're releasing more. I saw in Colorado.
Yeah.
Like coming up real quick.
Lovely.
Yeah, I was not happy to see that personally. No, I would be blown away if if the agency ever thought about releasing.
How many calls do you get saying, I saw a mountain lion?
or a panther.
I was going to say, most of it, don't stop at a mountain lion. Most time it's a black panther.
Oh, yes.
It's pretty common.
Yeah.
It seems like it goes in trends. There'll be a year where it's just all you hear about is that, and then it'll transition to rattlesnakes or something else.
Yeah.
But no, we're not releasing any mountain lions in Tennessee.
Okay. One more thing before we go. CWD. I want to talk a little bit about it.
Sure.
There for a while, it was like Middle Tennessee and Western Tennessee was eat up with it. Now you don't hear as much about it. Is it getting better?
I think it's just like anything else. A hot topic just kind of dies down.
Yeah.
But no, it is, and it's mainly all west. And you can look at those counties. They put it in our hunting guide showing what the hot counties are in the transitional counties. Now it's expanded. As far as the positive counties, but it's thankfully all in the region 1, I believe. There might be some in region 2. I'd have to look at them.
What exactly is it for those that don't know?
How in depth you want to go? So it's, and feel free to chime in, but it all starts. It's very molecular. It's a misfolded protein.
Yeah,
it's just misshapen that causes everything. But because it's so basic, it is extremely hard to get rid of.
Yeah.
take that deer, and it's illegal because it's
Got to take
not that it was taken illegally in any way.
Sure.
You just can't transport that across the state.
Across the state.
And then we're having to take that. And there's been instances where, it's a kid's first deer. That people new into hunting went 5 miles into Kentucky on their grandpa's farm and killed a deer and brought it back into Salina or wherever it is. And they have no idea. It was maybe the parents' first time hunting, maybe the kid's first time hunting. And they're just tickled to death that they killed this deer. And then that puts us in a place where it's like, a deer is illegal the way it was transported back in. So we definitely just want people to take the time, read those laws, and read what counties are positive with it.
Yeah.
And thankfully, there's nothing right here close to us that's positive.
And you can always get them tested. I don't know what the return time is from sending the sample off to getting the results back, but if you're able
I think they have a pretty quick test now that is like pretty quick turnaround, like
I think so.
Within a few minutes, I think.
Okay.
And
That's great.
As the agency, I'm pulling probably 30, 40 samples a year, and we got quotas for every county.
Sure.
So we're monitoring this,
I mean, it's a big deal.
It is.
It's a huge deal.
It is.
Yeah.
Very big deal.
So we're constantly making, and we're getting mature buck samples as well. It's kind of one of our priority to send off, and really we're trying to keep that as closely monitored as possible.
So there's no way to limit it. It's just kind of at its own.
The limitations are going to be reducing deer numbers, less likely to pick it up, less deer that have the opportunity to travel out of the area. That's kind of the big focus point at this point.
Don't bring any of those positive.
Exactly.
And on
contain it to geographical areas.
the processor side, I've had to go to one that got an out-of-state deer, and had to go and take every knife, saw, packaging that deer had even come through, tubs, their containers. It's all got to be wrapped up in plastic, disposed of in a lined landfill, which, I had to get all new tools, blades, everything for that. So, it became very costly.
Sure.
Wow. And, we saw this on the front end. It's going back to the elk hunting. There's a lot of people here that go out west elk hunting, and that was, some people wouldn't putting those two in the same family. It is elk, mule deer, and whitetail would be the main ones that we deal with, and a lot of people was bringing those back just like they did in the 80s, 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah.
And, that's not the same anymore.
I'm pretty sure it started in the elk population, correct?
I can't say that that's where it started, but it was mainly a Western problem.
Yeah.
And, and I don't know where it came from, but it very well could have been, there was a lot of people.
I think that was either Minnesota, Wisconsin was the first.
I couldn't remember.
Okay.
Well, before we go, what's one thing that we as hunters can do to help the conservation out in our own state, or our own county, our own area?
Keep hunting. Buy that license.
Yeah.
That's a good point too. We still get those comments a lot of, taxpayers' dollars, they don't like what we're doing or something specific, but we are a funded agency from hunting license and there's some other federal aid and stuff, but our main revenue is doing business. I think just everything that's going
It
on.
happens. If somebody needs to get a hold of any wildlife officer, how can they do that in Tennessee?
So look on the hunting guide will have the I don't have that number right off the top of my head, but they have a poaching hotline that you can call. But generally, there's 4 regions. Like I said, starting from the west to the east, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and each one of those regions has an office. And ours is in Crossville in the Region 3 area. So that that you can call that, and just depending on what your concern is, there's everybody that you need to talk to is in that office. Yeah. So whether it's fisheries, non-game, wildlife, law enforcement, but call, if you're in this area, call that Region 3 office, and they will send you out to that particular contact for that county.
Yeah. Perfect. All right. Guys, we sure do appreciate you coming on today.
Absolutely. Good. Thanks for having us.
It's good to take a deep dive into the law of what we do.
Pleasure.
If there's anything we could ever do to help you out, just let us know.
Likewise.
Absolutely. All right, guys, we'll catch you on the next one.